Hey, Keeble Cubs, Mrs. Hoffer here to help you with today's math lesson. Friends, after today's lesson, the goal is that you will know how to break apart. So, decompose is breaking apart a number up to 10 to create two whole new numbers. You'll understand that the two numbers being made must be either smaller or the same number that you started with. And you'll be able to take apart numbers using unifix cubes. Friends, you'll notice the unifix cubes are all at the top of our page because we are going to be decomposing today, which is literally the opposite of composing that we did yesterday. So what we're going to do is we're starting with one number, and this number is what is represented by the unifix cubes, and we're going to break it apart, so separate it into two whole new numbers. And from that original number, we'll create two new sets of unifix cubes, so two whole new numbers of unifix cubes. So to begin with, Keeble Cubs, tell me, how many unifix cubes do you see on our page? What do we start with? What is the initial number? That's right, friends. There are 8 unifix cubes on this page. Now I'm going to separate them and bring them down to two whole new numbers on the bottom of our page. Friends, tell me, how do we just separate? So break apart the number 8. How do we just decompose the number 8? How many unifix cubes are here? That's right, we count 7. And what about right here? How many is this that I am pointing at? 1. Good job, Cubs. So we just learned that we can start with the number 8, so 8 unifix cubes, separate and decompose it into 7 and 1. Good job, friends. So Cubs, tell me, are we starting with the same number we started with last time? That's right. We see the number 8 here again. Because remember, friends, it's so important to know that when we're decomposing numbers, just like when you're composing numbers, there are many different ways we can do it. So we just learned 7 and 1 are two different numbers that we can decompose the number 8 into. But there are also so many other ways that we can decompose 8. So separate it, break it apart into two whole new numbers other than 7 and 1. Let's see how else we can decompose the number 8. Friends, tell me, how many unifix cubes are right here that I'm pointing at? That's right, there are 3. And what about right here? How many unifix cubes are right here? That's right, Cubs, good job. There are 5. So we know that when we start with 8 unifix cubes, we can break them apart, bring them down, and 8 can be decomposed into 3 and 5. Good job, Cubs. All right, friends, so now I'm going to take my unifix cubes out and we're going to practice decomposing. So breaking apart, separating the number 10 into a bunch of different numbers. Remember, friends, when we're decomposing a single number like 10, 7, or 8 like we just did, there are many different ways we can do it. Let's get started.
All right, friends, now we're going to practice decomposing numbers with our unifix cubes. So friends, remember, it's important, and one of the goals of today's lesson is to be able to understand that, like composing numbers, when we are decomposing numbers, we can do it in many different ways. So right here, Keeble Cubs, tell me, how many unifix cubes do you count in this starting number that we're going to decompose, so separate into two numbers? That's right, Cubs. We count 10 in the starting number. So friends, I am now going to work on decomposing this number, so separating them into two so we create two new numbers. Friends, I'm going to bring them down and tell me, what are the two new numbers we just created from the number 10? Good job, Cubs. We can count that we created the numbers 5 here and the numbers 5 here. So when we start with the number 10, we can separate it into both 5 and 5. Good job, friends. All right, friends, so we're going to continue with starting with the number 10 because remember, it's really important to understand that there are many different ways that we can decompose a single number. So friends, we have 10 here, and I'm going to separate them into two numbers. Tell me, Keeble Cubs, how many unifix cubes do you count right here? That's right, friends, there are 3. And how about this one? How many unifix cubes are in the number we just created right here? Good job, friends, there are 7. So what we just learned is that we can decompose, so separate the number 10 to create the numbers 3 and 7. Good job, Cubs. Okay, friends, so again, we're going to start with the number 10, and we are going to decompose the number 10 again into two separate numbers. So remember, decomposing is separating it, taking them apart, and creating two different numbers. Let's see what we can decompose 10 into this time, friends. All right, so I'm going to separate it like this. Tell me, Cubs, what is the number of unifix cubes we just created here? That's right, we count 6 here. And what about this set of unifix cubes? What is this number that we just decomposed? That's right, we decomposed 10 into the number 4 here. So friends, we know that another way that we can decompose the number 10 is separating it into the number 6 and the number 4. Good job, Cubs. All right, Keeble Cubs, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tricky one. So here we still see the number 10, and we are going to decompose it into two new numbers. So let's separate the number 10 and create two new numbers. So I brought this down, and it's now the new number, and this is our another new number. But there's nothing there, Keeble Cubs. So what would this be if there is no unifix cubes on our left side? That's right, this is 0. And if that is 0, how many are these? That's right, Cubs, this is 10. So we just decomposed the number 10 into 10 and 0. Because remember, friends, when we are decomposing numbers, the two numbers we create have to either be equal to or less than the starting number. And 10 is equal to 10. Good job, Cubs.
All right, Keeble Cubs, that is all the time we have for today's math lesson. Keep up the fantastic work, friends.